Yeah, let's talk about it. He was the narcissist when he comes in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess we should sort of set the table. He winds up coming over just as we finished a few weeks ago. Meltzer predicted, hey, he's going to come over, be a part of the WBF, and as soon as his contract allows him to, he's going to start wrestling for the World Wrestling Federation. And that is the way it shook out. Of course, JR wasn't there for that. JR shows up at WrestleMania 9. So that's where we can really pick up the story. But by the
Yeah.
time you get there, Luger had already been wrestling for the WWF for a bit. And the story had been, oh, he's got a steel plate in his forearm and he's using that as his finish, which I guess is pretty creative. But the narcissist gimmick, I mean, you were just talking about how Vince McMahon and even Lex Luger himself were enamored with his physique, as well he should be. Probably the best body and maybe in the history of wrestling. He's got these I don't know, ladies, I guess we would call him, accompanying him to the ring, and they're holding the mirror and he's posing and flexing, and it's an idea. What do you think of the narcissist persona?
Thought we could have done better,
Yeah.
but didn't hate it. But I thought we could have done better. I had to get my dictionary and see what the hell narcissist even meant. Uh, I really did. I didn't know. So, and that's the irony of that is working in wrestling all those years. I was 19 years in the business before I got to WWE. So I wasn't exactly an overnight sensation, even though those previous 19 years were not, saw me, you know, damned in isolation and obscurity. Uh, but I didn't know what a narcissist was, even though I'd worked with plenty of them, didn't even know it. But I thought we could have done better on that deal. But it did get Lex some attention. I guess that's the object. Get attention when he debut. Vince is going to take care of him real well on his win loss record. And I said this before. I don't know that I can't recall. Now, maybe somebody will pop in my head later. Maybe you can remind me of somebody that Vince tried harder to get over than Lex Luger. The promotional manifestations, the Lex Express, the Intrepid, Yokozuna, all those things were major elements in trying to establish Lex as somebody very, very special. But Vince really worked his ass off to accomplish those things. So we can't ever, I don't think we can blame McMahon like we often do in this business for everything. I don't think we can blame Vince for Lex not getting over to the level that was perceived for him to become, because Vince did everything he could do. It's just, somewhere along the way, you have to connect with your audience. And sometimes and there's no timeline for that. Some guys connect right away and some guys connect years later. So I think that's where I stood on that deal. I thought we could have done a better job of introducing him, but I know the effort was there, and that was just the first phase of the narcissist stuff. So in any event, he got promoted well. I can tell you that he got promoted well, and expensively.
Do you think he felt like, just based on look alone, hey, this could be my next Hulk Hogan?
Of course, absolutely. I think it was Vince at one time fully believed that Lex Luger would be his next Hogan, and the issue there is that I will tell you I thought Lex was a lot better athlete than Hogan, but he didn't have Hogan's charisma. Whether we like Hogan or you don't like Hogan, or he was never a great worker and all that stuff. What is a great worker, Conrad? What the
Right.
fuck is a great worker? He applies the headlock correctly. He doesn't leg slap, or is it somebody that draws money? Well, if it's on somebody that draws money, is that one key component? How do you say Hogan wasn't a great worker? He drew money. He pulled the wagon. And ask any of those cats on the cards back in the day, or some WWF at the time, what card do you want to be on? I want to be on Hogan's card. They get their booking sheets. What's the first thing to look for? Look for where's Hogan booked, and now am I on that card, because we know it's going to draw. So I think that was the issue with Lex, that charisma thing. And that's not a sin, by the way. I'm not knocking the guy. I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't have Hogan's charisma. Few did, as a matter of fact. But I do think Vince fully believed that Lex had all the attributes as far as athleticism, primarily the look, and he was, could be articulate. He was a little different. He's a departure from Hulk, but I think that was the mindset. We may have our next Hogan, and so that journey began.
I'm just fascinated by that Vince, who knows so much about wrestling, and boy, some of our listeners just laughed, but I mean, he understands how to promote and how to connect with the audience and what's going to quote unquote get over, or whatever you want to call it. But to just boil it down to, well, they cheer Hogan because he looks a certain way. And candidly, I'm only here talking to you about wrestling because of Hulk Hogan. I was a little Hulkamaniac, and now I'm a big Hulkamaniac. I'm a big fan of his.
You're just big, Conrad.
I am just big, but I'm just thinking there's no, I don't see how you could make the leap to say, well, he's got a better body than Hulk, so he'll be just as big. And
I don't think that was the case.
Okay.
I think it was the same, maybe some of the same things that attracted you to Hogan.
Yeah, the charisma is what got all over me. I mean, the silly hand gestures and, well, something, all that worked for me as a little kid. And Luger just didn't have any of those. Right. I almost feel like Luger could be, I don't know, even comparing him to the Ultimate Warrior wouldn't be fair, because the Warrior had a fantastic body, but Luger didn't have the, I'm going to run to the ring and the crazy music and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's keep it going.